Bit of a mix of the Vic V8s in here, and you can tell the full-blown sports sedans. They're the ones running the Groove Train or QP Lubes window stickers. In fact, they should all have Groove Train, but looks like Dean Cam missed out on his, but he's got the old QP Lube sticker there. Have a look at that menacing black Saab of Thomas Randall, a full-time race car driver in the V8 Supercars Championship or Supercars Championship. He's here for one reason, Brett, and I bet you know what that is.
I think that lap record's going to go to Thomas today, and I hope it does. He's definitely well deserving of that, and definitely a driver that's moved through the ranks of Victorian motorsport.
Has he ever? He's been around the world, raced open wheelers. He's been gazumped off the line by the turbocharged car, and now Hislop as well. Have a look at that. Dean Cam out of the second row of the grid. Cammy in the 5-star fencing Corvette will lead the field. And I would have to say that car of Thomas Randall is running some sort of high diff ratio because he could not get that thing off the line. A National Sports Sedans car, which would normally have a rolling start, must be pretty tough to get off the line. But he's right up the back of Francois Habib now. Looks to go up inside turn 4. Pressures the gap, gets up on the gutter. Forces Ray Hislop wide as well. But Thomas Randall struggling to get the black Saab off the line. And Brett, I'll pass this over to you, but that's definitely a diff ratio, isn't it?
I think it is as well. So obviously those cars probably aren't designed to be doing standing starts like we do here in Victoria. I'm just surprised there that Thomas tried to make a bit of a move at turn 4. I don't think Francois was definitely expecting to see a little Saab popped in there, and probably not like Kevin Stoopman just then as well. So Thomas has definitely got a racer's mind. He'll be making every move he can to try to get there to Dean Cam, but I think at this level, I think we just need to be sensible and move forward.
The other thing about this car, and I think I'm correct in saying it's the only sports sedan running Michelins this weekend. The car is definitely shod on Michelins, and I touched on that with Thomas, and he said, yeah, I said to him, you're here for a purpose, and he said, yeah, and that's helped with the tyre selection for this weekend as well.
Yeah, definitely, and obviously that's a smart team down there. Thomas and his dad have definitely got a wealth of knowledge, and obviously with Thomas's supercar background, they definitely know they're here for a reason, like you said, and hopefully those guys do what they need to do and keep obviously the spirit of the sport in mind as well.
You reckon that's motivation because Jordan Caruso just about clean swept all the lap records in last year's national championship? They want to bring one back into the dream garage?
Oh, definitely something that I reckon it is, but it looks like Francois has got a bit of a false start penalty there as well.
Have a look at that. The Saab blast past multiple Victorian champion Dean Cam in the Corvette. Dean wisely not putting up any barriers there, just left the right-hand side of the track open for the Sky Sands Saab to go charging on through. And of course, just seeing the side of that car, there is a national championship which is going to be massive this year for the sports sedans, and we look forward to seeing that across a range of different events. Kevin Stoopman has just got the boost wound up on this Evo, hasn't he? That is absolutely
Someone's got to
thumping.
fly the turbo flag, mate.
Someone
Come on,
does,
we'll get into that conversation. It's race 1. We're only a couple of laps in, but I'll fly that flag already. So thank you for Kevin for holding that one out there.
Ray Hislop looks to the inside, a very, very experienced racer over many, many levels, many national championships in improved production, that many that I actually can't remember. There was a lot.
Yeah, look, it's definitely done a lot, and I've had that thing in my mirrors a fair few times as well. So another fierce racer there, and it's good to see Ray back running that amazing liveried car. So with Kevin's obviously not going to let him get away with it too much, but it also looks like Thomas has got some clear air, and he's probably going to start stretching the legs of that very nice looking black and gold car, if I may add there, Darren.
Yeah, certainly, and the lap record we're looking at is a 107.90. 107.90. It may not happen today. It may be something they've got to work towards race 3 tomorrow. Certainly, atmospheric wise, the track is in ideal condition for that.
I definitely reckon tomorrow morning might be the right timing for it, but those guys definitely got some good heads on their shoulders down there, and they'll do the right thing. So it's awesome to see, as sports sedans is, the variety of cars. As you can see here, we've got Ben McLeod there. He's done a lot of work to that car in the off-season. He's a fierce racer, but always there to help everyone else around him like sports sedans is. And how cool is this in-car?
It's very good, isn't it? This is Brian Finn in the Force Equipment outfit, and you just see him going back down through the gearbox, H-pattern gearbox in this car here. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is an ex-Commodore Cup
I think you're correct on that one, yeah. I think it's Commodore Cup Karts had a bit of... there's Andrew Parker locking the rear brakes there, and you could see that shuddering from a fair way back, couldn't you, Dave?
Cam McKee takes full advantage of that as the number 14 gets all sort of tank slapper and continuing on with it. And that's very, very interesting indeed. Andrew Parker regained control, and what it's done is it's thrown him into the clutches of a charging Rand McGlurkin up to position number 12, started out of 14th, and he's really got the bit. Talking about atmospheric cars, there's one that is absolutely playing with the boost from just about every lap.
100%. Look, it's I love seeing Rand out there. He's great for the sport. He's a great character around the pits. And who have we got off
That's
here?
Lynch. Greg Lynch
is pulling over, or is he trying to get back on there?
Greg Lynch was running up as high as 7th in this race, and he qualified 6th actually, and he has stopped there. So that car, I think, coming out of the Ravage Dean Lilly garage, they will be all over that thing to get it rectified before tomorrow's racing. The number 53 coming charging through here, David Hender. Now, isn't that just flying the flag for sports sedans of another era?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's definitely good to see the variety. So we've got Falcon, Commodore, Nissan, Falcon, Commodore, Falcon.
And that particular Nissan going through, that was Rand McGlurkin. Have a look at this beast here, the number 27. Nothing like kind of running Alan Jones's World Championship number car on the side of your big Falcon for Alan Argento. And it looks the goods, doesn't it? Have a look at that thing.
It's definitely a well-presented car. It's there's definitely a few blocks of flats there, isn't there? It's they're definitely pushing a fair hole in the air, and I think Rand's Nissan's opening up the air gap for him. So as we can see, it looks like Thomas has backed off a little bit there. Maybe some lap traffic already.
That's going to be the issue if they're here not to win races. That's going to be a result of trying to get lap records, I'm sure. But have a look at Cam. He's going back down through the gearbox there. Rich on the overrun there. Ray Hislop's getting a bit of a spray of some unburnt fuel coming into his cabin. Won't worry him. In fact, 2 guys that have come from club cars / improved production out there now in their sports sedans. Of course, Dean Cam just recently posting on social medias his old black RX-7 that he used to run back in the club car days. So these guys will know each other from previous categories in the past, as we just see passing off the bottom of the camera there is Thomas Randall.
Definitely 2 fierce competitors and 2 different machines, and it's good to see these guys. They're going to both give each other room. They're hard races, but they're both fair races, and having raced with both of them, I know that they're not going to do anything silly, but they are going to start to come into some lap traffic.
So we've got just under half race lap distance here in the Groove Train Eastland Victorian Sports Sedans, supported by QP Lubes and National Blind Supplies. We've got car 50 just making way between turns 1 and turn 3, short-cutting the track through there, and that's Matthew Horn.
It is a quicker way of doing it for future reference. And I think
you just got to have the ground clearance to get through.
You just got to try to get. I don't think I'd ever try it, but I think these 2 have obviously Cam's now come across some lap traffic, and I think he's a bit hesitant to get through it. So this may this is going to play into it.
Certainly is, and Dean Cam's going to have to get up the inside there. A couple of these Vic V8 guys just gradually get out of their way now. They're going to know they're alive as these 2 cars draw alongside. Dean Cam in that TA1 style of sports sedan looks absolutely brilliant. Here the turbo whooshka coming out of the Evo out of turn 4 there.
Music to my ears, Darren. Music to my ears. So maybe he's got that 6,000 pounds.
Maybe. Be happy for 30. Really happy, actually, with 30. It'd be a good place to be.
30, yep.
The new lawn car of Ray Hislop. We've seen him here many, many times before. GTRspec.com.au across the rear bumper. Ray needs very little introduction to the improved production ranks. He was their king for quite some time, sat on the throne there for a long time, and has made his way into sports sedans. Did some Super 2 racing as well. And I think his intent in sports sedans is to put the crown back on the head. Now, this car gives you absolutely no clues as to what it's about. It looks like it's just come out of the car park and joined in on the race. It's a pretty serious race car, number 4 there at the moment. That's Adam Caddo, and he is currently sitting in 19th place. Started out of 19th, but really gives you a look at what a Walkinshaw road car looked like.
Definitely
same sort of colour.
Screw some plates on it and out to dinner tonight, I reckon. it's you definitely wouldn't know by looking at it sitting in the pits that it was a race car, but obviously it looks like an amazing, well-presented car. And here we go with Vala's Commodore. He's been a long-time campaigner. It's good to see all these guys back and a massive field of sports sedans. It's so good to see that we've got 29 cars for round 1 of the year, and hopefully that carries on the whole way through the championship.
Rand McGlurkin now out of 14th, up to 11th place, puts Hender down 1 spot now, and have a look at him go. There it is, the black Nissan. He loves his Super GT racing, and he loves bringing the Nissans to the racetrack. He's got a new piece of equipment in the garage, which he went all the way over to Western Australia to collect, and I think he's realised it's a bit more of a resuscitation than what he thought it was going to be. And
I think he also realised how far that is away as well. So judging by talking to him,
coming back,
it was a fair drive to pick that car up. But it's good to see Rand resurrecting a few cars in the championship and out here, obviously racing. He does it just him and his dad, and his brother's out here as well supporting him. So it's great to see Rand out here. He just loves it. He's a sports sedan man through and through.
Yeah, the McGlurkins need very little introduction. His brother raced many years ago in the championships as well, and certainly his dad has been around sports cars for a long time. Great to see his dad back at the track after a bit of a nasty crash in the Aston Martin last year, but it's hard to keep them away. And there it is, the Evo with smoke coming out of the back and not too much more whooshka.
No, I really feel for Kevin there. He's been trying with this car as long as he's owned it. Obviously, it's from a time attack background, and those time attack cars are very highly strung. So hopefully for Kev, it's nothing super major. It looks like it's still motoring along all right. So hopefully he can have a bit of a look at that. But yeah, no one ever likes seeing that, whether they're a competitor, rival, whatever. You never want to see anything.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Brett, but if it's a turbo, it comes out the exhaust pipe. That's actually coming out from the middle of the car.
Yeah, it's a bit concerning. I was speaking to him the other week about he was out here testing when we had our car out, and he said there was an oil line fitting that kept coming loose. Now, being Kev, I don't know if it's this Evo or another Evo or a different coloured Evo, but let's just hope he can get it into the pits, turn it off and save it, and hopefully come back tomorrow with a bit more oomph in it, and hopefully a couple more £1,000.
He had this exact issue yesterday. It was a bit of an oil leak as well here in private practice, so obviously got to rectify that concern. Here comes Dean Cam climbing up the hill. He will go through on one of the big V8s, car number 36 there, goes through on him, which is Nathan Bell. Here comes Ray Hislop, and a couple of the big V8 cars as well, car number 50. And we're talking just inside the top 24. These two cars here, car number 50, which is Horn and Ratcliffe in the mix there as well. Just keeping an eye on Thomas Randall at the moment, a 1:13.66 on that last lap, but a best lap of a 1:09.26, and we're being told 2 laps to go. And I guess the biggest issue, Brett, for Thomas right now is getting himself a bit of clear track.
Yeah, I've just been having a look. I think he's going to get stuck with this one, and I think from my point of view, it's probably something you would probably wait until tomorrow morning now, and a little bit cooler conditions. I think it's going to be a little bit cooler tomorrow. It's about 24 degrees out there at the moment, but it looks like Horn's made another little bit of an excursion. So I reckon Thomas has definitely got the right head on his shoulders, and obviously with all his supercar experience, he's probably just going to leave this one. Prove me wrong, don't get me wrong about that. But yeah, I think he might just put this one in the bag for this race and keep a sensible head on his shoulders, and don't give the boys too much work to do tonight.
Oh, Dean Cam runs wide as well. There, gets around Mark Kukuri. Had just a little bit of a mishap there trying to get round the Kukuri VN, but it does so. Gets the pedal down nicely. There goes Thomas Randall now, and that was a 1:14.1145, and he's got a decent gap in front of him on the last lap here. Last lap board is out. Here goes David Hender. Here we go. Having a look at Thomas Randall now. He's got a clear track in front of him. Let's see the attitude of the car. Gee, the bumps come pronounced with a really top-line sports sedan, don't they? The rear wing wobbles.
Moves around a lot, and he's definitely hustling here. So he's getting it on the curbs and definitely fighting it around there. So hopefully he can string this one together. He might make this without getting lap traffic before he comes on the straight. But look at the closing speed.
It is massive, isn't it? You cast your eyes to the top of the hill and just watch. He's going to catch these cars down in Dandenong Road. So We don't have individual sector times to our avail this weekend, but it would be interesting to see this middle sector on this lap. Yeah, he's having to move out from behind that Falcon there to get a clear lap through. Blue flag's being waved, so they know he's coming. There's no denying the fact that the 49 is coming because the blue flags are being waved, and a couple of really good competitors in front of him as well. Brings it to the line to take the race victory, and Randall takes it, and on the last lap, a 109.5834, some time away from ultimately that lap record, which my records say Tony Ricciardello has at a 107.90. I thought it was Jordan Caruso that took it in the John Gourlay Audi, but I'm going to have to check that record. I will stand corrected if I'm untrue, and there's a good mate of mine, an auto action journalist in Sydney watching on, Gary O'Brien, if you can check that for me. And it's nice to have these people that you can call on all around the world.
I'm just looked at my phone, and apparently my engine builder wants to know when the 6,000 pounds come into it too. So we'll confirm that one later, but thanks for dropping me in on that one, Darren. Thank you very much.
I was colloquially referring to that, and I don't mean to get you in any trouble. The race does go on, though. Here we've got the 72 of Ben McLeod, a guy who last year was just ticking the boxes as a guy to watch in the future, because very sensible, very deliberate, and you could see the laps. You know when someone's doing a good job because the laps get faster and faster and faster. Each time I hit the track, it's 1/10, it's this and that all the way.
I'm pretty sure Ben's now got a sequential in this car as well. It used to be a sequentially shifted H pattern before, so pretty sure he's now got that upgrade, and we've got our turn 1 car park going on here as well. So this is actually, from a driver's point of view on this is probably one of the most challenging parts of it. Is you now got a extremely hot race car, you've stopped on the racetrack, and sometimes they just don't fire up or move. So here we have our final results, Darren.
Yeah, Thomas Randall in the 49 doing a brilliant job, ultimately home by 22 seconds over Dean Cam to Ray Hislop. Great to see the new line racer out there as well. Kevin Stoopman bringing it home there as well. Francois Habib in 5, and John Ippolito, who has got Darren Hossack, who's been helping him in the background as well. So there's some bit of royalty involved with the number 97 there. Brian Finn, great result. Ben McLeod, really proud of Ben to do that, as well as Cam McKee. That's a terrific result. A red Falcon that everyone would think has got 800 horsepower, 700 horsepower. He probably has, because it's a turbo inline 6. But something different, really is something different, is a turbocharged 6.
Your Falcon's doing incredible things. This is Cameron McKee, and we can see his beautiful red Falcon behind us. Thank you so much for joining us to have a chat about it, Cameron.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So the car is quite unique. Obviously, we're used to big V8s in sports sedans in that category, but yours is a little bit different.
Yeah, mine's a 3.5 litre turbo barra, so it's the only CAMS or Motorsport Australia compliant turbo barra, as far as I know, running around at the moment. So it's been like that for about 3 years now, and ultra reliable. It's a good car, good engine, good package.
Absolutely. So obviously this weekend we've got the Groove Train Eastland jumping on to support the sports sedans this weekend. It's good to have that commercial support getting behind grassroots motorsport.
It is definitely, yeah. Groove Train Eastland, they've joined as the category sponsor this year. We've got a few other sponsors. We've got National Blinds and QP Lubes. So it's great to have all these sponsors on board supporting sports sedan grassroots motorsport.
And what are your predictions for season 2023?
Well, this is my first time out since I had a little incident at Phillip Island mid last year, so far so good. If I can keep the car together for the whole year, which doesn't seem to be a problem, it's very reliable. I'm really looking forward to finishing the year, hopefully top 10 outright. We'll see how we go.
Thank you very much for joining us.
No worries, thanks for having me.
We've made our way down to the sports sedans paddock, or that area of, and I'm joined alongside by John Ippolito, who's the driver of this beautiful VX Commodore, and he actually took out the Floor Pan Championship last year. So John, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
So could you tell us a little bit about your race car, how it came to be the beautiful example that it is today?
Yeah, we started off doing HSV club days because it's a HSV club sport, and after progressing through those days of sprints, I just thought take the next step and go into state series racing with sports sedans. So it's come a long way since being a road car.
So obviously, was it written off at some point? Is that how it came to be a race car? Because that's sometimes how race cars make their way onto a circuit.
No, it was a perfect going club sport. Had all the nice seats in it, the sunroof. Yeah, it was a perfect car when I bought it, and pulled it apart, and it is what it is now.
So the car distinguishes itself from the sports sedans, the thoroughbred space frame cars. How do you find chasing after the bigger, sort of more robust sports sedans in something like this?
It's hard. It's really hard because it's such a heavy car. The power's good. We've got good power, but it's just a heavy car, and I try my best to try and keep up with them, but yeah, it is what it is. Yeah.
And what are your predictions for season 2023?
Hopefully I can take out the floor pan class. That's my main aim, to make it 3 in a row. And wherever I come in the outright in the state championship is where I come.
Beautiful. We'll say a big thank you to John Ippolito.
Yeah, let's look to the front of the grid now. We're waiting for the green flag at the back. We've got officials down there looking like they're about to do so. But there it is, green flag being waved for the start of race 2 for the sports sedans. A 20-minute affair, and we are going to jump away. Ray Hislop has held lap record after lap record here in improved production. He's jumped on board a full-blown ex-supercar, made it into a sports sedan, but have a look at that Corvette of Dean Cam. It's always been like a pro stocker car off the start, and he does it again. There goes the Commodore there down the inside as well. Here comes Francois Habib, but it's the Corvette to the Saab. Dean Cam gets away brilliantly. Ray Hislop clocks into P3 there. The mid-pack, Rand McGlurkin with demonic possession on board, gliding the way for him to go as he charges down the inside. And Cam McKee and Ben McLeod just in front of him. Ratcliffe gets him behind the Nissan. Have a look at that Falcon there as well, the big blue Falcon. That's sending a fairly menacing message as well. They all get through turn 1, 2, 3 and 4. There's Greg Lynch. He's made up some good spots after starting out at position number 25. Thomas Randall just looking to get some heat into those Michelins up the back straight.
Yeah, it definitely looks like he's got one thing set on his mind there. So great to see him pretty much straight off the front. Obviously challenged into turn 1 by Dino Cam, but definitely eyes forward now, and it's just great to see. Thomas out here mixing it with some of state's best drivers.
Have a look at that. Francois Habib just puts one down on the number 97. That's Johnny Bellotto. He goes down a spot there. The two Commodore racers are going to go line astern with each other. A very, very big battle that is going to come on board here. And it is a massive run at it. And down into turn 1. Gee, I tell you what, not much will distract me from a sports sedan race, but a Trail Lasagna arriving in the commentary booth. I'm torn. Brett, you got to take over here, mate.
Looks like I'm doing the next 13 minutes. But look at this. We've got Francois here in his Dodo supercar, following Dean Cam with Johnny Pilato behind him. Finn, McKee. McKee's actually holding his own here at the moment. I thought that turbo car would be suffering a little bit from the heat. Obviously ran there picking up the scraps, so it's good to see some turbo cars mixing it amongst the V8s. I'm going to chime on that all day, Darren, just so you know. But I think he's in a sea of V8s here.
Mate, you're not preaching to the converted here. I love to see a turbo come on strong. One of my favourite memories of sports sedans was watching Dominic Brinkner in the Alpha hauling in Bob Jolly, and on that message, sad to find out during the week or last week that Bob Jolly passed away, an absolute legend of Australian motor racing, and we send our sincerest condolences to the friends and family, and RIP, a great man of Australian sports sedans, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Growing up, there was always those pictures, and my dad would always show me of Bob Jolly's efforts, and obviously there was a photo that popped up on Facebook the other day with some greats, with Des Wall in the photo, and obviously Ron Newbound in there too, so a few of the greats of sports sedans. So yeah, obviously condolences to the Jolly family. But as we can see here, Randall's just wheeled out an 8.7, so he's on his way to that record, but I think it's a fair chunk that he still has to find. But judging by the attitude of that car going into Dandenong Road, Darren, I reckon he's fair wringing the neck of that Saab.
And I reckon we're in the right spot just to follow this car for the next lap or so, and apologise to everyone else racing in the Groove Train Eastland sports sedans, but this car is here for a dead set purpose. Last year, Jordan Caruso was absolutely massive in the national sports sedans and taking lap records pretty much with abandon all around the country. It's a 107.969. We've got to get down, I think, to 107.54. So he is right in the window. He's selected this set of Michelin tyres specifically for this weekend. They've never run them, so they have had some difficulties turning the tyre on. And I reckon this is the lap he has to do it, because he will be back on the tail end of some traffic by the end of lap number 4. So we'll stay with it, accelerating down. And look at the lines he's left on the road. That is some hurry up getting on there when you're peeling rubber off a set of Michelins like that and getting some wheel spin down. This is some good stuff. Thomas, of course, a Formula Ford competitor from years ago, raced National Formula Ford, went around the world, and in fact one of his mechanics from his time in F3 in Europe last night got up early in the morning, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning in the UK, and watched what the young fella when he was working with him. So there's a yellow flag, so this creates a bit of difficulty there. The car is parked right offline there. Thomas has well and truly spotted that, and he continues on his merry way. A 107.96 last time, a 107.4451. A 107.4451. We leave Thomas there and we go back and have a look into the depth of the sports at Anfield.
And that was a close encounter there. It looks like Andrew Parker's rolled to a stop just on the kink of the back straight. So hopefully those guys, nothing super terminal there. He's still sitting on the track, which might not be a wise idea in that location, because definitely a sports sedan, you come through there and you want to have the car as straight as possible. So if I was Andrew there, I would be moving that car with the starter motor if I had to.
And Andrew knows that as well. He will be hoping that he can keep the thing rolling there. So that venerable 5 litre 308 seems to have just given out the steam a little bit in this one. So that's not good. We didn't want to see any of our sports sedans haul up on the side of the track, that's for sure. So we've got one red Commodore parked off. No, it has gone now. So yellow flags have been withdrawn, and we are continuing on our way. There is Greg Lynch. He's come from the rear of the field, made his way up into 9th position now. Rand McGlurkin just off the rear of him, so he's gone through on the demonic possession, number 54, Nissan. And away he goes. Mark Huex in the back there as well. In fact, it's not. It's going to be Argento. We've gone safety car, and there is the reason why. We've got a car parked on what would ideally be, Brett Dickey, when you're flowing your sports sedan, you'll probably drift right out to the edge of the track there.
Yeah, 100%. I know in obviously our car being turbocharged, it's going to keep it as straight as possible coming through there, and it's not out of the ordinary to be getting that yellow line. So just trying to work out. There was a big puff of smoke going down the back straight, and now it looks like Ben McLeod's had a bit of a cough, got some smoke out of underneath the bonnet, and looks like there it is again. So I was going to help him out on that one, but I think we put a curse on him.
You know, Brett, in race commentary, we're not allowed to talk about having a little cough, because there was a spicy cough around for a couple of years that ruined motorsport for all of us. So race cars don't cough anymore. A bit of a hiccup, maybe.
Yeah, correct. I don't know if I'm seeing things, Darren. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the number 72 actually looks like it's crabbing a little bit. So it doesn't actually look like it's driving straight in a straight line. Hopefully we can pick that up on the next shot, but it actually looks like it might have,
or something.
Yeah,
might have
possibly.
let go.
So I've just been looking at the timing here, and Rand McClurkin said to me before that he wants a 1:19. Look how close that is, Darren. He's done a 1:20.0. So there's still a big.
That's
puff
the smoke
of
coming out of the McLeod car.
Yeah. So am
Let's
I
have a
wrong
look. This will
saying
be a
that
shot
looks
we'll
like
be
it's
able
got
to
a bit of
see.
a crab going on there?
Yeah, it looks like the diff has been pushed over to the driver's side a bit. And
we may be wrong. We're looking at it
yeah.
through a screen, so look, sorry if we are wrong on this one, and not saying that something's broken.
I guess all we're trying to do here, Brett, is try and surmise as to where that smoke might be coming from. As we've got the safety car from Cool Drive just trying to pick up Thomas Randall, and Thomas Randall a 107.445.1, brilliant lap, and that's what they've come here to do.
Yeah, look, it's definitely a brilliant lap by Thomas there. Hopefully the powers to be above us allow him to have that. It's a little bit of a question mark there coming past the yellow flag to still set a lap record and a PB. So hopefully they still allow that one to go through, because I know Thomas had all the good intentions and was definitely making sure he was doing the thing safe as possible as well. So as we can see here, they've just tried to pick up Thomas, but look at the gap behind. There is Now we're starting to see Ray Hislop coming through the kink. So that was a huge gap. 29 seconds before the safety car come out there, Darren.
So our race leader now in behind the safety car. This guy will know exactly how to react to a safety car restart to get this car into the best position. I would suggest that we get Andrew Parker hooked up pretty quickly and drag him into a safe spot, and we can get this show back on the road. And these cars certainly, and anyone with a turbo under the bonnet, don't like safety car conditions. You've got to keep the air flowing through these engine bays. There's a good bit of advice just appear across the bottom of our screen. For interruption, jump off Facebook, jump onto the YouTube channel, and we will see you there. That's certainly the best way to view it, or whatever your version of social media you like to get onto, but certainly YouTube seems to be the way that this broadcast goes best out to the world. So we'll have an uninterrupted broadcast there. Big g'day to everyone that's made their way to the track. Red Hill's starting to get fans come in, so still plenty of time. It's only just gone 12 o'clock. We're going to be racing until well past 5 o'clock today, and you can come and see some of the best motorsport that you will see right across the board.
Yeah, 100%. It's great to see spectators back at state level racing. So if you're not here, make sure you get down. You've still got a bit of time. But how's the speed of the recovery on the recovery crew here? And obviously all the volunteers working here at Sandown and Victorian State Race Championship, they've connected up that car of Andrew Parker. It's almost behind the fence down there on the back straight. So we'll take a little bit of time. Darren, I'll probably speak out on your behalf on this just to thank all the volunteers, everyone that's officials, volunteers, everyone that helps to make these events possible. Obviously Sandown for keeping this venue active, and without the people out there waving the flags, holding the boards, thank you very much. And obviously everyone above us in the officials and timing, and without all the data that we get around us to make our job a little bit easier, someone's going to help you, Darren. It can't always be me.
That's exactly right, Brett. Thank you, and we really appreciate your presence here at the racetrack, and you are certainly into the phase of training and going off to Pikes Peak. So said it a couple of times, mate, but we're going to be watching, and you're going to be our hero for the next few weeks once you get onto the big mount there. And of course you've got some time attack sort of work that you're going to be doing there as well. Just having confirmed from my great mate Gary O'Brien from the Napa Auto Parts Grassroots Racing Podcast, one of the best going around, in fact, Brett there. Join Gary and I on the Napa Auto Parts Grassroots Racing Podcast. He has confirmed that Tony Ricciardello's lap record was eclipsed by Jordan Caruso last year at a 107.5061. Thomas Randall has done a 107.44, and I guess we just wait for a bit of an official adjudication because there was a yellow out there. I'm going to say Thomas's lap probably could have been a half a second faster because I thought I heard him lift.
I think he did. We'll definitely leave that to the powers to be, but we'll step on Thomas's side here, and I reckon I saw a slight lift there as well. So
I think he even acknowledged the flaggy and lifted with his foot at the same time.
Gave a wave on the way through. Safety car in this lap, so we'll be back 3 minutes. So hopefully we'll get let's say two laps of racing here as Thomas grabs that sub, loads it up a little bit, waits for the safety car to be back in its safe zone, and we'll launch the Saab down the main straight yet again. Well,
this could be another strategy, really, couldn't it? Keeping the car nice and straight behind the safety car and get away. Use this as a warm-up lap, if you like. Ray Hislop in behind. We can't take anything away. We've got a lapped car in between them there, so they're going to have to get underway. There is the green flag, and away goes the Sky Sands car. Away goes the Newlon Falcon, and away goes Francois Habib and Dean Cam as they all take it out. Cam, he looks to the inside on Francois. He's going to have the legs, I reckon, as the frontal area on that Corvette is a lot less. Dips in. John Ippolito in the 97 stays fat on the outside there. And Dean Cam in the 66. He's also training himself up for a triathlon, always in a tapering program. And John Ippolito logs in behind Dean Cam. And then it will be... Where is it? There's Greg Lynch coming through. There's Cam McKee. And they're all lining up. Lynch, McGlurkin, Argento, Huex, Radcliffe, Mark Kakuri.
That's getting very busy.
Out of the corner. It is getting very busy. And there was the Finnemore car as well, which at the Historics climbed the pit lane wall. And great to see Finnemore getting that car back out on the track after that particular incident.
That looked like... So we're watching it through a TV screen, and I've just seen a whole lot of wheel work going on from Cam McKee coming across the top of the hill. So I think he's charged it in there pretty hard to make sure he was clear. But yeah, I definitely saw some hands moving around in there. It's probably not the right spot to be moving around.
So we haven't seen the last lap board yet, so we've got at least another 2 laps to go in this one. And 2 to go, confirmation. So Thomas Randall could, if he's kept that car in the operating zone, we could see a 107.4451 move to another level again without a lift coming out of the final corner.
100%. How's this little battle going on here? You got Randall. It's all going real wide here for one Commodore.
He's had Darren Hossack a year or so ago do a bit of work on that Mark Kakuri, and he's worked pretty hard. This thing is a ripping VH Commodore out of, I guess you'd say, the Commodore Cup era, been adjusted ever so slightly, and I would say with some substantially more horsepower into sports sedan trim. And certainly those Vic V8 guys have moved on their category. The Groove Train restaurant at Eastland is the place to go. It says it across the front of all of our sports sedans. And these Commodores and Falcons from the Vic V8 scene in the pack there as well. Looking at Nathan Bell. Gee, Mark McCurry is doing a bit of lawn mowing around here. I wonder how his Sunday afternoon lawn round is going.
He's definitely giving it a fair crack. It's good to see that obviously a lot of these Commodore Cup cars getting resurrected. And keeping obviously the sports sedan field full as we have another look at the Randall Saab. It is a work of art, isn't it, Darren?
It is, and you got to say again, Brett, you hit the nail on the head the last time around where he set the lap record. It's looking pretty meaningful, isn't it, that he is out after it. Looks like Ben McLeod will be the next car up the road. So we are looking at well, it is now a lap record. It's got the R next to it. So 107.4451 on our timing screen here as we look back into the field. The 53 fills our screens. Gee, you don't get much more traditional sports sedan fare than that, do you? And looks really, really cool. David Hender in the number 11.
How small does that Nissan look behind the Falcon? It's definitely a little car, and I think Rand will be making the most of all that
checkered flag engine. And there it is. Thomas Randall on the last lap at 1:13.07. Didn't get enough to get it wound up, and we will welcome home into second place Ray Hislop. He comes to Sandown and just takes podiums. It doesn't matter what he's in. Ray Hislop loves this place. In fact, I think he loves racing in Victoria.
And we've got Francois Habib is actually facing the wrong way on the last corner. He almost had himself a podium, but it looks like he's now going to sit there, and it goes to Dean Cam.
Johnny Pilotto going up 1, and Greg Lynch on the last lap, being that Francois parked himself off there. He goes up 2. So Greg Lynch started out at 25 and ends up 5, 20 places. That's the mechanical marvel for the weekend. A hard charger right there. I don't think you can take the hard charger award away from the new lap record setup, but if you're coming through the field like this, certainly a fantastic effort. There's Gary Finnemore coming through there in that Falcon Coupe, and the 97 of Johnny Pilotto, and this is a tough gig.
Down here in Sports Sedans land, we're unearthing more personalities in the paddock, and alongside me is Rand McClurkin, and he's a driver of probably one of the more interesting sports sedans entered, and he's got a plethora of Nissans, but what configuration is this particular Nissan 180 this weekend?
This is a VQ35 turbo, so it's a turbocharged 350Z motor, and it's actually just a Rekka motor. It's from Melton for $800. We have got a big Garrett on there though, and some other good bits and pieces like Heltec ECU and all that sort of stuff. Turbo Smart parts, Penrite oil, and it sort of keeps it living.
So there's obviously a bit of a theme going on with the cars and the way you sticker them up and the way they look. How much time and consideration goes into making sure they're looking the Rand McClurkin brand?
Well, look, to be honest, I was debating going orange with this, but I think it's expected of me to have that matte black car now, and I think it looks kind of cool. It stands out, I suppose, in an ominous way. And if on the cover it actually says it's powered by demonic possession, so I thought it would add a bit of a joke. So yeah, but a bit of effort goes in, yeah.
And obviously this weekend we've got Groove Train Eastland jumping on for the season to support Victorian Sports Sedans. It's good to have the corporate support behind the series to keep grassroots motorsport going.
100%. Great that Vin's come on board with Groove Train. It's a lot of work for the club to get sponsors and everything, and Vin's obviously a former competitor and will be coming back, so it's fantastic. And without support by people like Groove Train, it's hard for us to go racing, for the club to support us. And we've even got prize money this weekend, so that's pretty cool for a state level meeting.
We always love a dash for cash, but we'll leave it there. We say a big thank you to Rand McClurkin for joining us, and it's all that we have for now at the Sports Sedans paddock. So we're shaking trees down here in the paddock, and look who we've found. We've found Tom Randall, who's current supercars driver in the Castrol Mustang. He's very kindly lent some time to talk to us about what he's doing here this weekend, which is...
Well, we are here racing my father's lovely Saab Sports Sedan. So it's been a while since we've had it out. It's been nearly 15 months. We took it out for the Phillip Island or Island Magic back in 2021. So yeah, it's been a while since we've had to dust the cobwebs off. But it's nice to get to drive that car, and it's somewhat, maybe not with the new Gen 3 cars, but somewhat similar to the way you drive it. And it's just good to get more racing miles, because with the racing we do, it's 12 rounds, so there's a few weekends that we have off, and yeah, thankfully the team let me drive it, and it's just a great weekend away with Dad and all the guys.
Did it take a little while to shake off the cobwebs?
My cobwebs or the cars? Probably took a bit shaking off my cobwebs, but no, look, the car's been really, really good, touch wood, it's been very reliable, which is great. Everyone up and down pit lane who runs a sports sedan at some point has some form of reliability issues, but so far so good. And such incredible weather we've had this weekend at Sandown. Friday was too bloody hot. It's about 39 degrees, so hot in the cars, but the rest of the weekend's been really good, and it's just great to have so many categories here this weekend as well. Not just the Vic State Sports Sedan Series, but you've got a mix of saloon cars, HQs, you've got the Formula Fords, Formula Vs, so I think there's a lot of great up-and-coming talent here at the Vic State Series, and that's where I started my racing career.
So, lap records, you got it in the bag. Are you going out for more success in race 3?
Yeah, it's like anything, you're pretty greedy, so we just managed to get it, and hopefully we can go a bit better. But look, the cars, to get close to it, everything's got to be sort of working for you, and it's tough because I guess we catch a bit of traffic pretty quickly, so it's really can only be done in sort of the first 2 or 3 laps, and then you might have safety cars, all that sort of thing. So we're pushing hard. Yeah, hopefully we can go a little bit quicker, but up to this point, as I said, the car's been pretty faultless, and we're just having a great weekend, all us boys.
No worries, thank you very much. There he is, all-round good guy, Tom Randall.
No, they haven't. So the field ends pretty much at the number 10 of Vic Argento. Down the back of the field there, Andrew Parker just waiting to take up his spot. Green flag being waved, and we look set on the start. Watch for the Falcon and the 2 Commodores on the second row there, because Thomas Randall has not got away very well off the line. He just gently has to walk this thing away, and he does it again. Ray Hislop will charge hard, but it's a second gear grab, and Thomas has got used to the clutch take-up now on that Saab, and they charge down into turn 1. Igleto looks to the inside, holds his line, but it will be the black Saab, the DeVilbus Sky Sands entry, the Newlon entry of Ray Hislop. Next, Brian Finn, then Hewix in the 68 there as well. Largely looks to be a road-going 4-pan type of big V8 sort of car, and we all go charging in there. There is Francois Abib. He's made a couple of spots up in the ex-Tasman Motorsport supercar, and he is pushing hard. Rand McClurkin got a smart start away from his spot on the grid, 9th on the grid, the 5th row there, and he is pushing on hard. There's Andrew Parker in that venerable 5-litre Holden in the VR Commodore up the back straight.
You can see Rand McClurkin there. He made as you said, he made a very smart start, and he's steadily been picking off his rivals. He was up the inside of Argento going into turn 1. You can see David Ratcliffe as well coming under fire from Francois Habib up the inside through turn 9, but there is that V6 turbocharged powered 180 SX in the hands of Rand McClurkin. It's a very handy looking car when you get up nice and close, and it is menacing looking, and very nice guy is Rand McClurkin. Always love a chat with him down in the paddock, but here they come through, nice and clean start for the entire field. There's a great comparison between these 2 cars on screen at the moment. So David Ratcliffe around the outside Francois Habib up the inside. Habib's car is a thoroughbred V8 supercar, and you can just see how much more power, and it's probably just a little bit lighter than Ratcliffe's car, so he pulls it away as they come down the main straight. So that is Hender as well in that Falcon. The aerodynamic difference between these two cars, obviously I'm not going to throw too much shade at the Falcon, but it's a bit of a brick in a straight line, so there's a lot of power to try and overcome that aerodynamic disadvantage. But here is Habib making the clean exit coming out of turn 4. McKee passed as well in that brilliant sounding straight 6 Barrow motor with a turbocharger on it as well. AU Falcon's doing incredible things, Darren.
They are. They've certainly got their fan base, that's for sure. This David Hender car is driven brilliantly. It is a magnificent looking car. It's clearly got enough horsepower on board. But David Hender absolutely drives the wheels off that car and should be absolutely credited with what he can get up to. Just watching around the front of this race at the moment, Thomas Randall at 109.15, so we're heading in the right direction. Let's have a look at it on this lap. We'll keep the pictures on it. The Total Traction Drivelines car, De Vilbus and Sky Sands support. The Castrol FPR Supercars Racer at the wheel, riding the ripple scripts a little bit more gently this time around, not pushing the car out hard over the top of them as we look at the Victorian State Race Series sign up there at turn 4. But it is a magnificent clear piece of track in front of him. Ray Hislop in behind, rides the bumps. This bit here is just like amazing footage in the car there, and it doesn't look to be like he has wound it right up to 11 just yet, but certainly he's punching on 9.9, that's for sure. He wants to take it up to 11 because it can go to 11.
Yeah, he's doing a brilliant job. We should put a shout out to our good friend Heath McAlpine, who's no doubt tuning in from home. He's a big fan of Saabs, as you well know, Darren, so he'll be tuning in with great interest.
There's not a lot of Saab left on this one.
And that's a wheel off on the left-hand side.
There's not a lot of wheel left off someone's red wheel there.
Now, that's on the left-hand side coming out of turn 12, I believe, coming onto the main straight. So that wheel has parted company with a car. We'll get a little bit of clarification on that as it comes to hand as Greg Lynch and Ippolito go past the screen there as well. Two brilliant sounding cars. Actually, you had the privilege of witnessing on a safety car that's been called as well. So you can see Greg Lynch in the number 22 Commodore.
My question for you, Callum, is where is the car that is 3 wheels? Where is it? A red wheel? I think maybe Andrew Parker might have red wheels on his Commodore. But he's showing continuing on, even though he was down the back.
Yeah, we're hearing it might be Parker, so we're just waiting for some confirmation on that as well, on screen as well. But a safety car punctured race, unfortunately, and that throws a bit of a wet blanket over Tom Randall's efforts to lower that margin that he's done such a brilliant job of taking away that lap record. There's Kakauri in that Falcon. Just behind him is Michael Budge as well, introducing some new bodywork to that car in recent weeks as well, so as he continues to develop that Commodore. And just on screen right now you can see the Cool Drive VF Commodore, and there it is, Andrew Parker, unfortunately, on the left-hand side, coming through the S's and through turn 12 onto the main straight. And yeah, the wheel has come off, and it must have done so exiting on the run between turns 9 and 10.
Yeah.
And the wheel has sailed on through the gravel trap.
I would agree with you, Callum, there. It was nicely parked up. It looked like it was waiting for the local tyre shop to come by and pick it up for a puncture repair, didn't it? So that's a shame. He's ended up burying himself in that 308 powered car. No dry sump on that, wet sump in the true vein of a Commodore Cup car. Ian Tate prepared engine on board. And Andrew Parker will play no further part in this one. In fact, 2 races in a row, the Parker car has brought out a safety car. So that's a shame. Andrew will be ruining that. That's not what he came to the track to do today. But there is Greg Lynch, a magnificently prepared car. Initially started the build, did many years in the HSV Owners Club. Darren Breeden started the build on that car, and then Dean Lilly, perfectionist personified, completed the build, and that car has won a race last year and did a brilliant job. Bit of the history behind the Hender car is that it is a TCM car, and it did run in Adelaide last year in his hands. So he's doing a tremendous job. And we thank Gary O'Brien from the Napa Auto Parts Grassroots Racing Podcast for keeping those facts coming through to us. So thanks, Gaz. We'll be talking to one of the state rounds heroes from a couple of decades ago on the Napa Auto Parts Grassroots Racing Podcast this week. So keep yourself tuned.
You're keeping a firm lid on that one, aren't you, Darren? Okay, you want to spill some beans?
It's a sports car racer from many, many years ago. Yeah. So we're looking forward to getting a hold of him from the USA and having a bit of a chat. That narrows it down quite substantially. So, thanks to Gary O'Brien for keeping us across that. In fact, Gary's been our fact checker. In fact, my fact checker, my own very personal fact checker. There is Gary. So we thank Gary O'Brien for keeping us across that lap record for Sports Sedans as well. But yeah, it did come off, as Callum said. The tyre is still parked up on the entry to the straight there, but came off between 9 and 10, and Andrews backed it into the sand trap there as we just watched Thomas Randall popping out from behind the safety car to get fresh, clean air into the intakes of the Saab 9.3, the Dream Motorsport outfit. And there it is, menacing in its silhouette.
It's a brilliant car, and look, had a quick look at it in the pit lane. Admittedly, I haven't had as much time this weekend to suss out some of the cars up and down pit lane, but this was one such car, and you can see just how far to the right-hand side of that car he sits. So he's basically, his shoulders rubbing against the door on the right-hand side, but that's because there is a big V8 engine basically to his left-hand side, so I have no idea what it's like to race a race car with an engine that's planted firmly to your left-hand side, and that's exactly what Sports Sedans have sort of boasted through its extensive legacy of racing in Australia. So it's nothing too unusual, but as you said before, Darren, there's not a whole lot of Saab left in that car, but that is a brilliant-looking car.
Yeah, look, you can tell it is a Saab, and that's very important because it's entered under the name Saab. But certainly over the years we've seen some wild sports sedans come through, and there's a bit of a groundswell of support for some historic sports sedans gathering pace. They'll be racing at Malala over the Anzac Day weekend. We've still got a few races to go here at the 888 Home Loan Series for the Victorian State Circuit Racing Championship. Sports sedans on track. Formula V up next for their final race. Improved production also for their final race. And we'll round out today with the HQ Holdens, where we'll welcome a national treasure, David Amor, to the commentary booth to call all of that action. This is not what we want to see in sports sedan races. We love to see the big bangers of Australian motorsport, the gods of thunder, display their wares. At the moment, it's a little bit like a tour or a promotional drive from the pits down to Bathurst to promote the 12-hour or something like that. I believe that the last lap board is being displayed. So safety car lights are still on, so it will be behind the safety car. So anyone wants to grab points in this race, it'll just be a gentle roll around behind the Cool Drive Drill Pro Services outfit. There is Andrew Parker's car for the second race in a row, bringing out the safety car, and we will continue on for one more lap.
Good graphic on screen at the moment. So that's just outlining the calendar for season 2023 for the Vic State Race Series, and round 2 at Winton in Benalla, 22nd and 23rd of April. So, very much looking forward to that round. Then to Phillip Island for the first time this year, the 26th to 28th of May. Sandown once again in the 11th to the 13th of August. Back to Phillip Island from the 22nd to the 24th of September, and provisionally over the off-season, Calder Park was announced, and it's provisionally scheduled for the 27th to the 29th of October, but there's a few things to sort out before that event rolls around, so there's a few things that the track has to be sorted out.
Certainly, we run this series under the auspices of Motorsport Australia, traditionally known as CAMS, and that track needs to get to a level where it has a Motorsport Australia track licence. So that's all about facilities and track safety for the race drivers. That's not what we wanted to see, was the Sentinel number 14 car of Andrew Parker going back on a truck. Not at all, as we just see it disappear out of the back. Last lap board has been displayed. Cars remain behind the safety car, and I dare say it's been a very hot day on Friday, and there's some tired heads down there in the sports sedan paddock They'll probably all retire to the Groove Train in Eastland and have a couple of well-deserved cool drinks and take avail of the relaxed atmosphere, providing all the flavour and authenticity that comes with wood-fired cuisine down there at the Groove Train. Full-service restaurant. Let Vin and his crew down there know you've been to the races and you saw the sports sedans, and are now enjoying a lovely environment at the Groove Train in Eastland to have a great meal before maybe going into the pictures right next to the Hoyt Cinema.
Absolutely. Fond memories of the Hoyt Cinema at Eastland. I grew up in Ringwood, so that was my local stomping ground when I was a teenager, and we had nothing better to do after school. We'd mosey on down to Eastland, and it's great to see there's a group.
So, you know, when I grew up in Ringwood, there wasn't even a Hoyt Cinema in Ringwood.
Oh, okay.
There was no cinema whatsoever. So there you go, different era.
Did you have cinemas back then?
I think the nearest one was Knox or Croydon. The Croydon Twin was the big go-to in the early mid-'80s.
Also got to give a shout out, sorry, just while I'm thinking about it, is you can see just how sunny and hot it is out there. So we've got to say big kudos and a big thank you to the volunteer officials out there this weekend, because in the quiet words of Hans Molman from The Simpsons, the sun surely is doing its job today. So it's very hot, very sweaty, and we sincerely hope they're getting lots of shade, drinking lots of water, and being well looked after by the race organisers here. Tom Randall across the line to take the checkered flag, albeit in safety car conditions, unfortunately.
Certainly, and I guess it's a tribute to the guy that now holds the outright lap record for sports sedans here at Sandown. I'm pretty sure that Thomas would have liked to have gone across the line there with full revs and just in enjoying a little wave to the checkered flag as well. Great to see the trackside officials also acknowledging the drivers and vice versa as well. The drivers just acknowledging the great work that all of the volunteer officials do right around the track, whether it be in the pit and paddock and pit lane, race control, flags, recovery, fire and rescue on a hot day like Friday. Let me tell you, standing there in your full fireproofs with balaclava and helmet on is a tough gig. So big shout out to the fire and rescue crews and also the flaggies standing out there often in the direct sunshine. But we wave goodbye to the Groove Train Eastland Sports Sedan Series, and we cannot wait to see them at Winton in April. Still a couple of races to go. Formula V will be up next. Thanks, Callum, for your time with the Sports Sedans. And, of course, we will see you very, very soon. We'll be back with Formula Vs.